Hello and welcome back, everybody, to yet another episode of the Empowered Podcast, where we chat about realistic health and wellness tips to glow up without losing your mind or your period. I'm your host, Emma, and today we're talking about how to stop drinking in a culture obsessed with alcohol. And spoiler alert, I'm not fully sober. And honestly, that sounds kind of dramatic to say, but I don't know how else to say it. This episode is inspired by the book Quit Like a Woman by Holly Whitaker, where she explores how alcohol is deeply rooted into our culture and how she encourages women to ask themselves if alcohol is holding us back from living our fullest life. She also highlights how even one drink can disrupt our sleep, our hormones, our brain, and for women, the impact is even more profound. And this is exactly what we're going to talk about in this episode. So I want to start with a little backstory of my own relationship with alcohol and how it evolved to now, which is that I do drink from time to time, but I could 100% live without it, which wasn't always the case. So, especially as a Swiss girly, wine is a big part of Swiss culture. We have vineyards all over the country, but especially in my region where I grew up, where the climate is particularly great for grape cultivation, especially by the lake, as the reflection of the water adds to the exposure and makes the grapes thrive. That's for the little side lesson. My dad is also a big fan of wine, and I remember sitting next to him every night at dinner when I was a little girl, and I would smell his glass of wine. I loved the smell of red wine, and I would just sit there and sniff his glass. That is so funny when you think of it. Obviously, I wasn't old enough to drink, but now that I am, in my family and at any family reunion, wine is a very sacred part of the meal. And it's a special type of wine to accompany different courses of the meal, etc. And I've honestly grown to love wine culture and everything around it, but this makes the stop drinking statement kind of hard, when your dad literally has a wine cellar and every time you come over, he offers you a glass of amazingly good quality, very tasteful and expensive wine. Last weekend, he literally pulled out a bottle of wine and was like, this wine, like that won a prize. And I love how passionate he is about pairing the wine with our meals. And, he talks about the history behind each bottle. So yeah, it's kind of hard to say no, Hence the why I haven't stopped drinking 100%. The second side of my drinking history, I guess, is when I used to go out a lot to clubs specifically or to bars. So it was always with a bottle to share with friends on our way there, obviously because drinks were so expensive and we would just buy cheap alcohol and mix it with Red Bull, obviously, and drink before going wherever we were going. But that was my wild and free era, I guess. But at some point in my journey, I was going out and realizing that alcohol wasn't really serving me. So the first part of my realization was to stop mixing hard alcohol with energy drinks because I realized just how bad that was. Like seriously, when you combine a depressant like alcohol with a stimulant like Red Bull, you literally tricking your body. The stimulant masks the sedative effect of alcohol, so you keep drinking more thinking you're fine, but you're actually getting drunker and more dehydrated. Not to mention the insane stress this combo puts on your heart. I mean, it's giving like cardiology ward, not main character energy. So yeah, I was then mixing drinks with apple juice or Capri Suns. I remember that. Until I realized it doesn't really matter what I was mixing it with because I'd end up like either blacked out or always with a terrible hangover and bad decisions. I mean, again, young, wild, and free, am I right? So then I decided to go clubbing and going out without drinking at all. And the thing is with that, it's really kind of a hit or miss, right? So if the songs are good and the vibes are great. Since you have all your senses, you end up kind of enjoying yourself. But if the music is just not it and the people there are all super drunk and annoying and you're the only one not drunk, I'm telling you, it is not fun. So then, well, I kind of stopped going out altogether. I mean, boring, right? Yes, I am that boring friend. Sorry. And then the rare times I did go out again, I would like try again, but more controlled and only drink a few drinks. And I wouldn't even get like the good buzz from alcohol. Like I wouldn't really feel anything except for that grogginess feeling. And then the next day, I would still get a hangover. And that's when I thought like, girl, what? This is not serving me. How is this any use to me? So now when I do go out, I don't drink at all, usually. And I intentionally choose the parties I go to so that it's never really a miss. And the only time I do drink is when I see there's like a porn star martini on the menu, because this drink just makes me feel some type of way, There's something about having a fresh girly pop cocktail in your hand when you're like having a catch up with some girlfriends. I just can't resist, to be honest. Or for big celebrations, like champagne, it's kind of hard to say no, I guess. And lastly, I am a red wine girly, like I said before. So when my dad offers me a glass with a perfectly cooked steak, again, it is hard to say no, even though I should. I know, okay? But I mean, this is where I'm at in my journey. So let's talk about why would you even say no to alcohol to begin with? I mean, surely it's not so bad, right? I mean, it's legal and it is so present in our everyday life. I mean, almost, right? After work, celebrations, weddings, winding down, to accompany a nice dinner, etc. So as much as it's normalized, I am here to tell you that literally no amount of alcohol is safe. And in the book I'm reading, she literally compares alcohol to ethanol. So I don't know how accurate this comparison is, but I just know it's not a good sign when something you ingest is even remotely similar to something you use to gas up your car. So just something to think about. So now I'm going to list 6 ways alcohol impacts your health. I'm talking even in small doses. So this ain't gonna be pretty, okay? But I think it's a great reminder, even for me, okay? So hang tight, y'all. Number 1, it disrupts your sleep. Even when you feel like it might be helping you sleep, what alcohol actually does is deprive you from that deep, rejuvenating sleep. The one that you need to feel energized the next morning, the type of sleep your muscles need to recover after a workout session. Yeah, and your body can take up to 3 or 4 days to fully remove alcohol from your system. So if you're drinking several times a week, your body never really gets the benefit of like real deep sleep. Number 2, it increases anxiety. So if you're someone who struggles with anxiety to begin with, initially the alcohol might help take the edge off, but then the counteractive process of alcohol will release cortisol and adrenaline into your body. So if you drink 1 glass of wine, you might feel relaxed for like the first 20 minutes, but then as cortisol increases, it can worsen your anxiety. Again, if you're someone who struggles with that, you might want to rethink that glass of wine. Number 3, it disturbs your liver's detoxification process. Your liver is literally working so hard to keep you healthy by detoxifying any harmful compounds in the things you eat, you drink, breathe, what you put on your skin. And when you drink alcohol, which is one of the most toxic substances you can ingest, well, your liver prioritizes it over anything else. So we're left with excess toxins, which can, accelerate the aging process, for instance. It can make losing weight much harder. So essentially, the more alcohol you drink, the less healthy your liver will be, which can cause fatigue, which can worsen PMS symptoms, and other kinds of hormonal issues like acne or bloating, or headaches, and a bunch of other things that you kind of want to stay clear of. Number 4, it messes with your blood sugar balance. So I think you've heard of how more and more people are becoming diabetic and how insulin sensitivity is getting bigger and higher. I think it's crucial to understand that alcohol really converts to sugar super fast in the bloodstream. So when you drink this larger than normal dump of glucose, this leads to a release of insulin to restore blood sugar levels. And over time, this action results in overproduction of insulin, which results in low blood sugar levels, which isn't good at all. Number 5, it disrupts your hormones. Like I mentioned, alcohol affects your sleep, which directly impacts your endocrine system. It also raises your estrogen levels and lowers your testosterone levels. If you're a gym girly, you already know we don't have a lot of that, so let's not waste the little that we have. It also puts you in a fight or flight mode. So if you'd listened to my previous podcast, you know that it is a no-no for your body, especially in the luteal phase. So anyway, the results of that is fatigue, low sex drive, worsening periods, mood swings, etc., which as women, we already struggle with that. So alcohol is essentially making it worse. Last but not least, alcohol is a carcinogen, and it is linked to 7 different cancers. For breast cancer alone, more than 100 studies have shown the link between drinking and breast cancer. And I'm going to throw a stat at you from breastcancer.org. Women who drink 3 alcohol beverages a week have a 15% higher risk of breast cancer. And for each additional drink women have daily, you can add 10% to that initial risk for every single drink. And so this is just one of the 7 cancers, right? But there are others like mouth cancer, throat cancer, liver, colon, rectum, etc. I mean, basically anywhere along the digestive system. Whew, that was some heavy stuff, right? I mean, when you hear all that, it really makes you rethink that pink cocktail, right? This isn't meant to scare you or anything. I mean, maybe just a little bit, but mostly it's to bring awareness. I mean, it's basically all that I'm trying to do on this podcast is just to spread awareness and maybe start a conversation with yourself or even with your friends and family. I mean, in this society where alcohol is so normalized, I think it's nice to remind ourselves that literally no amount of alcohol is safe. That being said, I do think that everybody's different, right? So some people, for whatever reason, deals better with alcohol than others, right? I mean, I think we've all heard that one friend that says, oh, well, my grandma lived till 97 and she smoked a pack of cigarettes a day. So, even though we all know that cigarettes are bad for you, So I'm not saying that if you're casually drinking, which is like I'm doing, by the way, you're not going to die tomorrow. But again, I think it's important to spark some curiosity and start a conversation about the normalization of alcohol, especially if you're listening. I'm assuming you're someone that wants to kind of like stay healthy as possible at least, and live life to the fullest and live a long and happy life. And I think we should normalize saying that alcohol isn't healthy for you. Anyway, so here are 3 questions to ask yourself in order to determine whether you might want to reduce or even stop alcohol consumption altogether. So how many times have you suffered a hangover, regretted something you said or did because of alcohol? Is alcohol getting in the way of your dreams, your happiness, or your self-esteem? Do you feel like you'd have a better life if you never had to drink again? So now let's get into the steps I would recommend if you do want to reduce your alcohol consumption, and how to kind of navigate this society that kind of judges you if you are someone that chooses not to drink. That always really fascinates me, to be honest. Like, alcohol is the only drug where you have to justify not taking it, right? Like, no one would ever question, like, what do you mean you don't do cocaine? Like, anyway, so let's say you're going out with some friends and everyone's drinking, and they turn to you and they're like, aren't you drinking with us? So there's a few things you can say to that to kind of make it less awkward. Number one, oh, I'm driving tonight. Even if it's not true, I mean, no one is really going to question that. By the way, the other day I was driving and it literally just really occurred to me how normalized alcohol is in our society. Because in Switzerland, it's legal to drink like 1 or 2 glasses and then drive home or whatever. So you might be thinking, well, yeah, duh. But when you really think about it, like, don't you think it's kind of crazy that we have this tolerance when it comes to alcohol? Like, it's actually legal when you're under the influence to drive. I don't know. That's just crazy to me, but maybe it's just me. Number 2, you can say that you have an early workout the next day or an early meeting. We all know that the workout won't hit the same if you've had a few drinks the night before. And it definitely won't have the same effect on you. Like I said before, your body is more occupied by getting rid of the toxins from alcohol rather than reaping the benefits of that workout. Anyway, that's kind of besides the point. Number 3, you can say that you're on a cleanse or you're trying out this new diet or whatever, trying to be healthier or something like that. Maybe spark more of a conversation rather than judgment. Now, I have a few that are a little bit more unhinged, that are maybe more suitable for people you know less, like some random person trying to buy your drink and you don't know how to explain, or you just can't be bothered, and where you can just lie without there being any consequences. So here are some slightly crazier things you can say that will shut them off right away. Number 1, I'm pregnant. Yep. And if it's a guy trying to hit on you, that might just solve that problem as well. Like, they will be gone in a heartbeat. Number 2, you can say that you're on antibiotics. You know, they don't know you enough to ask any further questions. It's quick and efficient. Number 3, you can say, I'm an alcoholic, right? If someone is being super annoying, just say you're an alcoholic and walk away. No one will argue with you on that one. You can also say, oh, I have a concussion, or I'm allergic to alcohol. Which is funny because we are all kind of allergic to alcohol, you know, because it's toxic. It's literally poison. Okay, last one. If you're feeling super frisky, instead of answering, ask them back the same question and say, and you, why do you drink? I mean, be careful with that one because they might get a little defensive. Huh, funny when it's the other way around, right? Okay, moving on to what you should drink instead. So your immediate instinct would be a mocktail, right? So mocktail is just like a cocktail, but without the alcohol. But more often than not, I find that these drinks are like super expensive, like almost as much as an alcoholic drink, like a cocktail. And it's also full of sugar. So what's the point, you know? So I have a few solutions for that will give you that cocktail kind of vibe, but without all that sugar and without the alcohol, of course. Tip number 1 requires you to have some supplies when you go out. So what I do is I buy these electrolyte tablets. My favorite ones are from Power Bar. The raspberry pomegranate flavor is amazing and it makes your drink pink, so that's a plus. Mango passion fruit is a good one also, and pink grapefruit as well. So what you need to order from the bar is some sparkling water with maybe a lemon, and that usually is super cheap, right? And all you need to do is I add half a tablet of these electrolytes in the glass, and there you have it. You get a sugar-free flavored cocktail drink for half the price. And you can stay extra hydrated throughout the night. Some of these electrolytes even have a bit of caffeine in it, so it kind of doubles and helps you stay awake if you're going clubbing or something. Because let me tell you, the night is very long when you're in a club full of drunk people and you're the only sober one around. Yeah, that is exactly why I don't do that anymore. My second tip is if you're just hanging out with some friends or you're doing a before party and everyone is drinking beer or mixing drinks, what you can do, and I don't know if this is sold everywhere, but for example, brands like Maison Perrier, they have a drink selection called Chic, or San Pellegrino, they also make this canned drinks that are alcohol-free. One of my favorite flavors from Maison Perrier is called Lemon Mojito, and it is so good when I tell you, you guys. So you just put it in the fridge before you leave, and then you don't feel left out when everyone is drinking and like sharing drinks and everything. They also have a take on Bellini cocktail, but alcohol-free, which is called Rosellini, also from Maison Perrier. I think I saw those in the Coop the other day. So maybe go see your selection of soft drinks in your like local store and make sure to look at the table on it to see how much sugar there is in it. Maison Perrier only have like 6 grams per portion, so that is pretty good. And when I was in France a few weeks ago, I discovered a drink from the brand Yas, and I actually fell in love with their concept. It's like a prebiotic soda that contains 6 grams of fiber. So considering the recommended amount of fiber is 25 to 35 grams daily, I think it's pretty good and it tastes amazing. It's made with apple cider vinegar and lemon extract and strawberry extract, I think. So pretty clean ingredients. So just have a look at what your stores offer. I think you'd be surprised what you find when you're not looking for alcohol, just how many alternatives there are. And there's something about drinking something that is actually good for you, and that feeling and not feeling like crap the next day or even later the night. I don't know. You tell me though. Just try and stay clear of like these kind of Fanta sodas or Coca-Cola. Like these are just crap and full of sugar. So at this point you might as well be drinking alcohol because it's hardly worse, but you do you. Now my third alternative is if you're at home and you're able to make your little blend, or you want to make some kind of healthy mocktail for you and your friends, and it is to make a fresh concoction made with herbal teas. So it makes it not super expensive. All you need is to get a jug, fill it up with boiling water, let the tea infuse to your liking, and it can be mint tea, to which you can add some lemon juice or even some ginger juice. You can add a little bit of honey to give it a sweet taste, You can even add some fresh fruits. What I also like to do instead of ice, I put frozen berries in my drink, like strawberries, raspberries or blueberries, and it makes it look super cute and fresh. And then bonus is that you can eat them afterwards. I mean, doesn't it sound so much more appealing than a vodka Red Bull? Again, I don't know, okay? You do you. What I do recommend if you try this technique is the higher quality the tea, the better your drink will turn out. So for example, the brand Kusmi does great teas. So prioritize fresh herbs instead of these store-bought sachet ones. But you can kind of try out a few recipes and kind of find the one that tastes best to you. Then you just store it in the fridge and you can get fresh drinks the whole night. And you don't even need to pop open a bottle of rosé. Okay, so I think that these are all my tips. Who would have known that not consuming a drug in today's society can be hard to accept for some people and difficult for those who choose health rather than something toxic, but whatever, I think people drink to connect. And the whole point of alcohol, I think at its core, is to share a drink, right? So let's foster that same feeling of sharing. Let's welcome people's choice of drinking or not drinking without giving a reason, without the question of having to justify yourself. And on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. If you want to read the book Quit Like a Woman and you think it might be something you need in your journey right now, I'll make sure to link it in the show notes. And if it resonates with you, share it with a friend who maybe needs to hear it. I myself got this book from a friend, so shout out to Dahlia for putting me on. As always, my ebook on cycle syncing is available to download in the link in the description. I hope you feel empowered to choose what works best for you after this episode. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!